No, and neither do I want to mention to verify it, I don't want to popularize it. But your youth can understand that it's a gossip blog compared to the New York Times. Both are online. Both are one click away. But is there any similarity between the New York Times and its authenticity versus these blogs, right? So we need to understand many authors of that era are simply compiling what people are saying. They're not interested in verification. The New York Times has a prestige it needs to live up to. Okay? These publications, The Economist, for example, or any mainstream, reputable publication, it has established itself like Imam al-Bukhari did by a verification process. Whereas others, they're just doing it for popularity, for clicks. There were people who wanted to be popular and they just collected. And there was a phenomenon that greatly contributed to the popularization of bizarre hadith. This phenomenon is kind of still around to this day, but to a different level. This phenomenon was known the phenomenon of storytellers, qassas, storytellers, okay? They would tell stories of a Islamic nature and they became more popular than the ulama and the preachers. Dare I say there's an element of this still very well known. Tabloid and refutations and stupidity generally brings more clicks than academic talks. This is the reality of things. This is the way human beings are. So there were storytellers. They would go around masjid to masjid and they would establish reputations. And they wouldn't care if it's authentic or not. Their goal is popularity, because after they finished, people would give them money and they would get fame and they would move on and on. So this particular long narration is from one of the people in this chain is one of the most famous storytellers of Medina of the 150 hijras. This was the era of storyteller fame. This was the era where people are becoming well known for narrating. And this is a very, very lengthy hadith, quote unquote hadith. It's very weak, but because number one, it is so detailed. Number two, and this is what Ibn Kathir says, many of its phrases are verifiable. I.e., the storyteller did a little bit of research and he compiled from the Quran and from authentic ahadith, and then he kind of filled in the gaps, if you like. Okay? So many phrases of this are verifiable. And because it is so vivid and graphic, this very long hadith became accepted in many books written in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th centuries up until popular khutbahs of our times. And I just wanted to mention certain things about this. So where is this quote-unquote hadith narrated? I'll give you some names. And again, even the students of knowledge that are just beginning would never have heard of these. Of them is Ibn Abi Dunya in his Kitab al-Ahwal. Of them is Ibn Abi Hatim in his Tafsir. Of them is Abu Ya'la in his Musnad. At-Tabari in his Tafsir has a shortened version of it. Al-Lalaka'i in Sharh Usul I'tiqad, and Abu Shaykh in his Kitab Al-Azama, which is the one I'm going to be using. Al-Azama is a book that was written 369 Hijrah, and the name of the author is Abu Shaykh Al-Asfahani. Most people have never heard of this, even students of knowledge are not aware. It is a 5-volume book of traditions about Kitab al-Azama, the grandeur of Allah, the majesty of Allah, how majestic is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole book is about a hadith that are meant to amaze you. Kitab al-Azama of Abu Shaykh. And he has in it Sifatu Israfil, the chapter regarding Israfil. And he has all of these interesting, bizarre, majority of them weak narrations. Okay? So, this hadith, I just wanted to quote you bits of it. We don't have time to translate. This hadith begins page 821, and it finishes in my edition in page 838. So 821 to 838. This is the one hadith. Can you imagine? I wish there's no time to do all of this, but it is. I went through it today. It's very, very interesting. I wish we could do it. But anyway, I just wanted to quote you the beginning of it. So, allegedly, Abu Hurairah said that the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after He finished creating the heavens and earth, He created the creation. He created the throne, the trumpet. And He handed the trumpet to Israfil. And Israfil has forever remained staring at the throne of Allah, waiting until Allah will command him. Now, some of these phrases are authentic. We already quoted those ahadith, right? Abu Hurairah said, O Messenger of Allah, what is the trumpet? Massur. The Prophet ﷺ said, qarn, a horn that is blown into. Abu Hurairah said, how is it? The Prophet ﷺ said, it is huge, massive. I swear by the one who controls my soul, that one circle of the trumpet, pause here. If you look up even the Jewish shofar trumpet, it goes in circles, right? It goes like this, right? So it's the horn goes like this, okay? So one circle or one circuit of this horn is as vast as between the heavens and the earth. Again, we see the storytelling here. We see the exaggeration. This is not known from any hadith, but it's found here. Imagine if you were a person in Baghdad in the 2nd century and somebody's narrating this, you're going to be mesmerized, right? And this goes for 20 pages. You can go on here. And Israfil will blow 3 times. Remember last class we mentioned the evidence for 3 times. This is the most explicit evidence. Israfil will blow 3 times. Nafkhatul faza', nafkhatul sa'iq, nafkhatul qiyam. This is where that evidence is coming from. Literally, it lists it. The first time when Israfil blows, everybody will be terrified. Like Allah says in the Quran, مَا يَنظُرُونَ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً مَا لَهَا مِنْ فَوَاقٍ. And the second time, and then the earth will tremble. And then he goes on and on. And then Abu Hurairah asked him about the dead people. The Prophet ﷺ said, the ones who are dead will not hear that trumpet, the first trumpet. And they will be in their graves at peace. And it goes on until, he says, Israfil will then be told to blow it for the 3rd time. And this will be for the second time, nafkhatul sa'iq, the second time. And this will be the nafkha, that all who are in the heavens and earth will fall down dead, except whom Allah pleases. Then the Malakul Maut will come to Allah, and he will say, O Allah, all the people of the heavens and earth have died, except whom you have allowed to live. Allah will say, who is left? The Malakul Maut will say, you are left, because you are the Hayy who does not die. And the carriers of the throne are left, and Jibreel is left, and Mikael is left, and I am left. Allah will say, O Jibreel and Mikael, die. So the Arsh will say, O Allah, you will cause Jibreel and Mikael to die. And Allah will say, be quiet, for I have written that all who are under the throne shall die. So Jibreel and Mikael will die. Then the Malakul Maut will come, and he will say, O Allah, I have taken Jibreel